Hi everybody, welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I'm Mark. A little bit late for this podcast this week. It's supposed to be Monday, but it's just been busy with me at the moment with work and everything else. And also my 8-year-old son is leading up to his birthday party on Friday. So there's a lot of things going on and stuff like that. So I've just not had that time to do this podcast as at my usual time. So I hope it's better late than never. Um, and really, I wanted to get plenty of stuff out on Monday regarding the game on Saturday because I was disappointed with the result. We played well, but I was disappointed with the way, with the fact that we just took a point when it should have been points. And I wanted to get what I felt at that point. But over the last few days, I've just, typically with like most, as a Evertonian, over time you start thinking about it more. You start looking at the game, looking back at the game, and you think, look back at it. You're not as disappointed as you would want it to be. But yeah, point to point, you're still unbeaten. It could have been more. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the Villa game. What my thoughts and what my ramblings are regarding the Everton nil Villa nil. Obviously, coming into this game, we've had 3 wins on the bounce. We've just come off an international break. So momentum was there, confidence is there. We're seeing better football. Obviously, we're creating more opportunities going forward in the previous games, and you can just start seeing the confidence starting to develop through the squad. Um, the team, sadly, we've not settled down as much with one or two players with injuries currently, with Mikalenko being out again. So obviously Jimmy Garner has to go into that, take on the left side of the defence and do it, performing well as he normally does. So playing that position, and also Irabunum coming um, in place, obviously, James Garner taking that position where Mikalenko has left due to his injury. So other than that, everything was the same team, um, and just felt that confidence was there. We started the game, and I think we were on the front foot for a lot of that game on Saturday. I felt, and I felt that's where my disappointment come in. That the fact we didn't score with the chances that we did create. And I think the stats are quite high with the amount of shots that we create off target and on target throughout the game. Is quite high, which is good for Everton, especially as we have seen over the last few years, being very very negative and the opposition having more of the chances and the opportunities. So we're seeing more of that, which is good. That's obviously with the players that we have, in in our midfield, and I'll get on to Beto in a moment, and our striking situation and the issues that we're having with that at the moment. But our midfield are competent and playing and creating and getting ourselves in great positions. Um, and the performances were there as per usual. I hoped a bit more. I will get more into the performance of Jack Grealish as he did play well, but I'll get more into that in a moment. Just the little things that I got a bit frustrated with, but they're very minor, so I'll get more to that in a moment. But what really defensively, we were a lot better. I thought Tarkovsky was a lot better in a defensive sense. I thought Michael Keane again performed well again, and he's doing his job, and he seems to be being consistent week in week out, which is great for a player that I've said in the past that at the end of last season he should have been on his way out the club, but he's taking his opportunity while Jared Brentwaite is out injured, and he's doing okay. So and I think okay, you were playing against Aston Villa, who have got a very good team, but at the moment they're not performing very very well, and as you can see, they've not scored this season in the Premier League, and it's it's like night and day from what we've seen, what Aston Villa are and what they're capable of. Last season, obviously in Europe and also in the Premier League last season, yeah, it's a very different team, a different something not right with them at the moment. Um, so the expectation from a team that like Everton with the tails up and ready to go out there and go for it and get a result against a team that is not performing at the moment. It was a great opportunity, and that's where my disappointment comes from. Is that that it was a great chance to actually beat Villa at home, especially not just now at the Hill Dickinson, but Goodison. We haven't beaten Villa at home since 2015, which is just like a hoodoo sign over us at the moment. It seems to be with Villa. We can't seem to get results against them. So it is a great opportunity to actually, get 3 points, be further up the table, and it'd be nice to have had that momentum to keep going as we go into the Derby game, which I'll get to talk about in a bit. But yeah, but defensively it was all right. But yeah, as I get back to the attack in that first half, that opportunity, I think Garner played across great football, and Beto just put his standing foot in the wrong place and went to hit it, and it went wide. And then obviously their goalkeeper, they just I wonder if they just brought him back in to play against Everton, because for some reason Martinez just seems to have superhuman games against us. He keeps on keeping us out, making three really good saves in the game, and it just seems, why every time that he plays he seems to have a blinder against us. Anyway, he was doing his job. So at the end of the day, we did put the ball in the back of the net, and we had other opportunities. But Beto, that one he should have put in, and this is where my confidence in him is not. I don't have that confidence in him. And with Barry, who is still learning and still taking time to get into the Premier League, he's got the potential there. You can see in flashes. We've seen it this season what he can do for knocking the ball off, and doing that part of the job. But we've not seen him yet actually score goals, do what he's actually been paid to do, and what the potential's there. So we still got a lot to wait with him, and hopefully over time we start to see that. But with Beto, he's worked hard, his effort is always there. There's no issue with that, and he does score goals. He's done it, he's done it against Wolves. He has scored goals for us, but he's so frustrating. And the balls that were coming towards him, they're bouncing off him all the time. They're just like consistently, every time the ball was coming towards him, they're bouncing off him. And that's the issue that we have. I think we've got a makings of a very, very a good team, a progressive team that can move forward and that we can get better. This is just at this moment in time. It's only fourth game in. Was it third game? I can't get it in my head. How many games we've had? So it's still a lot to go on. Still a lot of work to do. Still a lot of to get better and better and better, and more consistency and more. We want to see more of that. And in that game, there was a lot of good things to see, a lot of good stuff to do, a lot of good movement and passing, and a lot of great, interchanging going on between, midfield, and there was a lot of good stuff there to be pleased about and be happy about, and to really be, see that we are actually progressing as a team and going forward. There's still a lot of work to go on. We've got the January window, and we've got, the next summer window, where we'll need to keep on adding. We need to keep on strengthening and bringing our level with the players that we have, and the players that are not at that level, such as Beto. That the striker, if we can get in, needs to be a higher level, needs to be a better level. But we always say this, but I think if we have a good season, hopefully, if we can keep on progressing and going forward, then we can get into Europe and get an opportunity to get into Europe at the end of the season. But it's still early days. There's still that bump in the road that could happen. There's still something that can go hit you in the face. We could get injuries to players that are key players that we have, and that's going to knock us a bit. We're going to have a situation in December with the AFCON. We've got Idrissa Gueye going there, and Dye going as well. So as much we may have players to come in, because I'll get to Ulster Merlin what role, who rolled with it. Sorry, I have to get that joke in. Who came on for Irabuna, he was all right against Brighton. Irabuna, he did play well, but in this game he was giving the ball away again, and he was like the game was passing him by in my mind. And Roll came on, and he just fit straight in. The only negative I have is that shot that he had. That was the only negative. But he was all over the place. He was getting into fights. He was tackling. He was doing everything, and he was linking up a little bit better as well. So there's some positives with him, and I can see him starting against Liverpool in the derby. And that's just me. I just hope that he can take. I couldn't believe the size of him for a midfield 6'4". It was like ginormous, but he's got all the attributes and the skills there. Let's see where he can take that. Let's see if he can really, make that position his own. But with James Garner playing well this season and actually performing well, it'll be interesting where Mikalenko comes back in, if James Garner will move into that position where Merlin Rowe's been taken or took in the game against Villa, to see if he'll be back on the bench again. We'll see. We'll see what happens at the weekend, because I think that 20-minute, Moyes may think he may. I'll keep him on the bench and I'll bring him on in another game and just gradually get him, integrated into the games going forward. But we'll see. That's if Mikalenko's back anyway. Yeah, but with Trezeguet going and and die, and it's gonna hurt us, and it will. We'll just make sure that we've got the players in place who can come in and do a job for that period of time while that tournament's on. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. There's a few clubs in the Premier League, I think, are all going to be struggling with players that are going off to the African Cup of Nations. So we'll see on that front. But yeah, going into the game, I think Villa, you can see how poor they were, and there were little moments. I don't know why it was. I just had that old feeling that I had last season where we played well in games, and Villa would have a moment where they would just get for a bit of possession, get the ball forward and get crosses in the box. And the part when it's gone like, you can just see it, can't you? They're going to get a corner here or something like that, and they're going to score. They're going to score from it. You can just see it. It didn't happen. And that's where the frustration from my point of view came from, was that the opportunity that we have, the pass, the way that we were playing, we deserved to win that game, really. In reality, we deserved to win it with the possession that we had, the way that we were playing, the movements and everything else in that midfield, and you can just see it, but it just didn't happen. And that's where everyone mentioned about, the striking situations. Beto should be putting them balls in the back of the net. That Grealish cross in the second half, which was a great whipping in. You need to put more on that, to put the ball in the corner of the goal. And that would have been, curtains, I think, for Villa. And I think, we could have gone on to then. I think much, we would have been a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, and then we could have gone on and actually probably would have scored more goals. But because we hadn't, it was just tougher to break down. Doesn't know when as I say, the goalkeeper having a blinder. So yeah, but other than that, the other thing that I want to talk about, and it came thinking on Jack Grealish. Yeah, he got player of the month. I know everyone's talking about him, and everybody's really happy with him. I'm happy with him. I think he's been really, really good for us, and I think he's actually helped heighten the team and helped us forward, helped with the confidence going forward at the start of this season. But there were moments in that, I think, second half where he get into positions and he could have shot. He could have had a shot one or two times in that second half, and then he chose to actually go inside again and then go back outside and then try play the pass to somebody else. And it has happened a couple of times, and it's not just him. There's one or two others that got the ball and they were too busy. Instead of shooting, they should have, instead of shooting, they tried to play the perfect pass or tried to play to somebody else. And I just saw that, and it's not criticism as such because you know it's well, is it criticism? Yeah, it's a mild criticism of him. But other than that, he's always there. He's always getting forward, and he's always getting into trying to create opportunities, which he did in the game. He could have had assists in the game, obviously, but it didn't happen. Dewsbury Hall had a good game as well. I thought he performed as per usual, as he's been the last few weeks. And I think Ndai first half was really really well. One of our best players. I think some about 3 or 4 Villa players could get a ball off him at one stage in that first half. And then in the second half, I think he seems to have tired a little bit. I don't think that knock that he had on international duty while he was dancing had anything to do with it. He just tired as we got into the second half because he wasn't as in it as much as he has been. I was quite surprised that Alcaraz didn't come on near the end of the game to try and change things a little bit, might freshen it up. But that's the way it is. But Moyes made that decision, and he just brought Millen-Roll, who, as I mentioned, had a really good cameo, and seems to be, going to develop into a really good player. I hope you can see things, and sometimes next week they could meet. But then again, he's still a young lad, and he's still. But then again, he's a German international, under 21 international. He's played games in the Bundesliga. He's played, in Germany. So he's got a lot of experience there for a young player. But let's hope that we see more of that, and as the season goes on, we see the best of him, and hopefully he can force his way into the team to a point that it's going to prove difficult for James Garner or wherever position. The other thing great about him is he's versatile, which Moyes always liked to buy players who are versatile, so he can play with positions. So it'd be interesting with him. Yeah, but I'm still disappointed with the result on Saturday. I think it should have been more. I just felt really pissed off, really, with after the game. I just walking out of that stadium and the length of time I had to wait before got home because it was a long day journey because it was busy. But it was a good performance in the sense of the word, but there should have been more. The chances that we had, another day they would have gone in. But as I mentioned about Beto, he needs probably in the derby game he'll probably score like he tends to do against Liverpool late when we played him last season and that. So you know he might score, and then we're all happy with him again. But his inconsistencies are having is leading to a lot of frustration, and he's just not good enough. I'm sorry, if we want to be a club that's going to be in Europe next season, and we want to progress, and we want to get better, and we want to challenge a bit higher up the table, and we want to have a team that we can be proud of and be excited about. We can look a lot at that team at the moment. There's players that we can say, yes, they've heightened the team a little bit and look a bit better. But there's more to do, you see. And, it's not just you look at the back. I can say Mikalenko, is he good enough to, be part of the, he's got a year left on his contract. Is he good enough for, from next season onwards that, do we need a better player in that position? We've got Az now, who is there and he's young and he needs to get the opportunity to play. Will he get them in the FA Cup and the League Cup? Will he get to play to see what he's good at? If he can make it? I don't think this season is going to be the season for him to be breaking in yet. But we'll have to see how that pans out. Obviously, on the right, you got Jacob Brown, who I thought played really well. I think second half he was really good. Jacob Brown against Villa on that right. He's a centre back, but he's doing a good job there anyway. But you've got Seamus Coleman, who's only going to be a bit player and just going to be there if needs be. Patterson was back on the bench, but he's not good enough because he was on the verge of leaving anyway. It obviously didn't happen. He's not good enough, so you need to sort that situation out. right back situation, a better player, but you need good backups as well for the better players, the right back and the left back. Anybody out there, let me know who's out there who you think could be good enough to take those positions. Maybe not this season, maybe in January if opportunity to do so, but who are out there to actually come in and actually do that job. The midfield, we need pace still on that right side, as much as Tyler Diblin, who didn't come on Saturday, but he's got all the potential there to be a great player. Still time will tell on that, and if the value is there, so we'll have to see how he is. But obviously he's there. But I still think we need pace on the wings because especially away from home, you want to counter attack. If you've got somebody in that midfield and get that pace and get up quite quickly to help the strikers, and as I mentioned about the strikers, we need better strikers, obviously, who can also get up there and get into positions as well and can do a mixture of everything. It's not just the job of holding the ball down if you're launching it to him. You're also getting into good places and good positions. So there's a lot of work still to be done, which obviously didn't happen in this window. January might be difficult to if we can get anybody in. So next summer is going to be another big summer when it comes to who you bring in, and also if Jack Grealish continues performing week in week out and just keeps on playing the way that he is, are we going to pay the money for him if he continues and just makes impact on the team, and we get results because of him with other players? Obviously, he's become an influence. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's what. Let me know what you think in the comments below on YouTube, on Spotify, or social media. Just let me know what you think because there's a lot of work still to be done. And I think if we can get it right and we can strengthen it a little bit more, I think we're going to going in the right direction. We're going in the right direction now, but we just need to push a little bit more. I just feel that we're going to add a little bit more depth to the squad and then just go from there really. But let's enjoy the period that where we're in. Is that we're enjoying what we're seeing week in week out. Saturday I enjoyed what I watched. I enjoyed what I was watching, but the result was not for my expectation. My expectation was that we should have won that game, and it felt like we should have won that game because every indication was that. Just to throw this into there, and in the usual, the referee was absolutely shite. I'm sorry for swearing, but he was absolutely terrible. Some of the decisions he made in that game, and I think may have affected a lot of sometimes a bit of the flow of the game because at periods when we got the ball and we were passing and moving and creating chances, it was all good. But there were periods in the game where it was like stop because the referee was making terrible decisions. There was one on Tarkowski where he fouled, he didn't foul, where he basically tackled the Villa midfielder perfectly fine. The referee, with his hand out, you can see this on video, his hand out said play on, but play forward, and then he pulled it back and then booked Tarkowski. So he changed his mind within about a split second from going thinking, yeah, this is all right. No, but no. And then another one which really got me, and it irritated me still to this day, is that Jack Grealish had the ball and he was going forward and he got clipped. And we see it. I saw it. It was on television as well, but I saw it directly where it was in the second half. He got clipped and foot brought down. The ball rolled forward. Jack Grealish got back up to try and tackle, and then that other the player who he went to go into got a little bit of a nudge, and he got a foul. And I'm trying to think, what was that for? That was another one. Apologies for the cough. But yeah, it's like, why? One or two things. There's a few others as well. There's like foul throw-ins. Got them. Probably got them right. And then it was like Martinez delaying taking free goal kicks. With time, counting. What? So things like that. You just terrible. Simon Hooper, I'm sorry. You've shown it this season. You shouldn't be refereeing. You should be back in the championship. You should be bloody going back and bloody out of public eye and going learn, read the rule books properly, deal with it. It was absolutely terrible. So anyway, that's that game's over with, and basically big game Saturday. Derby games, can't stand them, especially at Anfield. Um, we'll see what the team's going like. Mikalenko may be back for that one to go back into his role there. We'll see if Jimmy Garner will go back into his position with obviously just a gay. I think the rest of the team will probably be the same unless barring any injuries. I'm guessing Beto, who has scored against Liverpool, will probably start. I don't know unless Moyes decides to interchange. I think Merlin Rowe, that cameo was great. I can see him being on the bench. I think he's going to stick with what you have to. I think James Garner has played well, and deserves to be in the team and long keep his consistency going. And it sounds like his confidence is up as well. So let's build the momentum. It's going to be tough against them. I don't know what it is. I just sense as much as the referee is it. I can't remember somebody England. I can't remember his first name. Sorry. Um, he's supposed to be an okay referee. He seems to do okay. No kind of. He's not controversial kind of referee that you tend to get. So hopefully he'll be all right. But it's Liverpool. Liverpool are not firing on all cylinders, but they seem to be getting away with everything as usual. Get penalties at the end of the games, injury time's been added, so and they get opposition players get sent off, and they seem to have this I call it Indian sign. They seem to have something. They just get away with everything. They get through everything. I don't know how, and it just seems to be they didn't. Burnley made a good performance against them, and for a period of time with 10 men, defended really well, did everything they could, and basically, they have to they get a penalty, you know, and even when their players encroached on the pitch when he took the penalty. So, but I think defensively, I've noticed this season they've been a bit weak. So we need to any opportunity we can is to get the ball in the box. Let's create the opportunity, keep on going. Hopefully, we can score a goal there. Be great. Be amazing if we can come away with a result. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough game because everybody's with them. It seems to be. I'm not conspiracy theorist. I'm not into all that sort of stuff to an extent, but it just feels like VAR's with them. It just feels like the referees are with them at the moment. It feels like the whole of the media, everybody's always a get with them, and it just feels like something. If something does happen, yeah, you'll always go for them. It's just the way that these they may not be playing great at the moment, but they show a sign of a good team is because they're still winning football matches, but they seem to get the look and the rub of the green that I wish Everton would get more of. Probably a lot of other clubs probably want that as well when he played Liverpool. So we'll see how that pans out. So just to mention, so it'll be back. My next podcast hopefully will be on next Monday, as per usual, to review obviously the Derby game and everything that happened from that game and so on and so forth. This is once again to thank everybody who has listened to the podcast and has enjoyed listening to the podcast. Your views and opinions, either for or against whatever I've been saying, and it's always appreciated that support. I just want I just love talking about Everton. I love the fact that at the moment we're just having a good time of it and enjoying things at the way things are at the moment. And just long may they continue. Long may we can keep on progressing, get better, and keep going forward. Just let's hope, and that's hope we can get a result against the Red Shite on Saturday. Watch this space. So anyway, thank you again for listening to the podcast and watching the podcast. Do appreciate it. And I'll speak to you again on Monday. Take care. Have a good week. Bye bye.